Am I the asshole for divorcing my husband over him being sterile? I, 30 female, and my husband, 38 male, got married 4 years ago and started casually trying to get pregnant after marriage. I've not always wanted to be a mom, but it's something that grew on me when I met my husband and decided I wanted to live a life with him. He, on the other hand, has always known he was going to be a father no matter what and was very adamant on it, which I honestly didn't care as it genuinely became something I wanted to. After about 8 months of trying to conceive without success, we smelled something might be wrong. We assumed it was me since my periods are absurdly out of control. Notes: previous year I only had 2 periods. When my period started being irregular, I never got looking into it since my screening pap smears had always been okay. And I knew there was nothing structurally wrong with me because I had an ultrasound as a teen during a regular checkup with gynae. It was probably just hormonal and couldn't care less in that moment of my life. When we assumed it was me and that I might be infertile, we had a pretty serious talk about our future. We talked about our options and we knew there was a big chance we ended up needing some sort of assisted reproduction method. I knew what a toll on my body that would be, but I was okay as we both wanted to be parents. Weeks of injection, which I dread. I even panic when I have to get a blood test or vaccine. Stopping the only migraine medication that has worked for me as it's not compatible with pregnancy. Having a relapse on my migraines not only because of stopping the meds but also because of the hormonal injections, but it all seemed worth it. We also talked about the methods we might need if they manage to stimulate my ovulation, either if we went for IUI or IVF, that's okay. But if there was no egg to be retrieved, we would need it to be a donors. He started saying that genes don't matter, that it would still be my kid no matter what, and that it shouldn't matter. He also reminded me that we both wanted to be parents. That was the best choice, as adoption can take just so many years, as we've also never been fond of that option. In our country, national adoption isn't really an option, as the state wants to reunite families if possible, so they only set up the families to foster the kids and not actually adopt them. A friend of mine had a foster sister from only a few months old until 12 years of age, and then they removed the foster kid from them because the bio mom got sober, which of course shattered them. So yeah, he said if needed we should go for the donor and that he would do the same if roles were reversed. I agreed as I don't think DNA matters that much, but we decided to press pause on all of this as we had just gotten married, bought a house, etc., and needed to save up for the whole process. We resumed it at the beginning of this year as we now have the money, and during the last 4 years of trying during the last 4 years of trying naturally, we haven't had a single positive pregnancy test, but my periods have regulated. Started to do the testing to see what was wrong with us, and apparently I'm just so fertile and have the ovarian reserve of a 20-year-old. Him, on the other hand, has a complete azoospermia, which is quite rare. See, when males are infertile, they usually have abnormal spermatozoids, slow, no tails or multiple tails, multiple heads, etc., that aren't good enough to reach the eggs, but can be used in IVF. He simply had none. This can be due to an obstruction or due to a lack of production, so he had to get a testicular biopsy to check if there was something salvageable from there. He nagged about having to get the biopsy, and I reminded him all I would have to go through too, so he ended up getting it. Long story short, there's nothing to retrieve. His balls are completely dry. I thought this was annoying, but not a drama. I have eggs and we could get a sperm donor. All of a sudden, he's completely opposed to the idea, as he says he wouldn't be able to raise a child that's not his. And that's even offensive for me to ask him such a thing. I was just so shocked and reminded him that we had this conversation years ago, and he said on multiple occasions that if roles were reversed, he would do it. So I didn't understand where this was all coming from. He told me he said that back then to cheer me up, but that obviously a real man wouldn't do it, and that it would be just too emasculating to raise some guy's Jacob product. Eh? I was hurt and shocked to hear all of this and asked him to please think it through. A few weeks have passed and he told me he still feels the same way and that it's not going to happen. I've told him if that's how he feels, I respect it, but I want to split up, as I don't need kids to live a happy and meaningful life, but I don't want to live with the regret of not having tried. He's all mad at me, calling me names and a liar for not caring about our vows and all of the until death do us part. I replied he also lied and has had me years thinking that we were on the same page with kids, and all of a sudden everything was fine, only if it meant me not being the bio mom, but not the other way around. I feel like I'm right. I still love him and don't resent him, but this is not what I want for my life. I need to at least try, and then if it's not possible, I will be satisfied with the outcome and move on. My friends' opinion are split. Some say I'm right, and others say I'm being so mean for divorcing him over being infertile, and asking me if I would divorce him if he was terminally ill too. I'm not divorcing him because of his condition, but because of the years of lying and not even wanting to consider doing himself what he expected me to do without a doubt. So, am I the asshole? Man, they'll stain your white. They will stain your white. Because tell me why, if her eggs were not viable, you would have accepted to get an egg donor. But now that it's your own eggs that are not viable, you don't want to get a sperm donor simply because you don't want to raise a child, some guy's Jacob. Okay. Please leave a comment in the comment section. See you in the next episode. Bye.